What is good, everybody, and good morning. Welcome to the Casual Podcast with Brian, the Casual Brian, which is me. The Casual Podcast is brought to you by the Casual Brand Clothing, Casual Brand Pages, Casual Brand, and the Casual Brand Company. Anything casual, think about the Casual Brand. We have a lot of communities around music, MMA, pretty much any subject you can think about, we have a page around it. And so I highly suggest that you head over to Instagram right now, type in casual jazzer, casual producer, casual grappler, casual traveler, any one of these things and see what we got. Maybe you'll consider joining. We're coming to you live today from Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So if you're seeing us on any one of those platforms, please be sure to follow or subscribe, whichever is appropriate. And yeah, let's get right into it. First, we're going to have a sip of coffee. Oh, yeah, that's so good. And all those people listening on the podcast, thank you so much. Podcast comes out every day at 5. Hopefully, it'll be coming out every day at 5. And uh, we're streaming. So we're still looking for a good time. I think that I don't know if I want to do a flexible time. So meaning like it's not the same exact time every day. Um, Joe does it, and it's fine. I think having consistency as you're building is better, but doing it in the morning does present challenges. Namely, if I don't get up in time. So I'm trying anyway. So I think it's going to be we're going to keep trying like around 10 o'clock, 10:30, and then depending on if am able to shift my sleeping schedule to waking up at 8 o'clock, then I might do 9:30. So whatever it is now, the only change that would happen is that it might move an hour earlier. Podcast is still going to come up at the same time, and everything else is going to be the same. I am looking to start getting some of the podcasts up on Instagram, and in addition to the getting the podcast up, I'm looking to um, do clips. So whatever I'm talking about. If I think this was a good subject, then I want to get it clipped up and put up on Instagram. So these are just some thoughts. And again, everybody that's checking in, be sure to drop some comments. I noticed what I've come to realize is that it seems like most people watch it on the replay or later, and then they comment. So I don't get to see the comments live, and that might be like a downside to doing it at 5 or 9. But I have some exciting news. Um, I can finally officially announce that I'm going to be starting a new podcast with my good friend Sabrina, Scythe, SEIDES. How it says. Let me check it out. I don't want to give you the wrong information. Yes, so it's SEIDES. Sides. She is a phenomenal new producer. She has great communities on both Instagram and TikTok. We worked together on the cruise ship years ago, and we've stayed in touch. Um, we're just good friends, and I think that we're going to be able to provide a lot of value for artists, musicians, people coming out of school, people in school. Um, just kind of reimagining what it means to be a musician in today's time because it's not the same. And if you think it's the same, then you're going to be missing out. Yes, there are still traditional venues, revenue streams, ways of thinking about being an artist, just simply being an artist. Meaning, what I mean, like not worrying about like the business side of it so much, but having people kind of do that for you. But nowadays, I think you at least need to have a base understanding and knowledge of every level of music, which is so complicated and so difficult because that gets in the way of you being a true artist. But you need to understand the business side, the financial side. You need to understand if your music finds its way into TVs and TV shows and movies, how that works, and what's a proper or appropriate level of payment. So we got a lot of exciting shows lined up. We're currently in the production level, And so, yeah, if you have any ideas, any things that you would like us to talk about that are music related, from production, placements, and look, with music placements and things like that, it's not that complicated. It's just difficult to do. Find a director, find a music supervisor, find a music editor. That's it. You know what I mean? The music industry, especially on that side, it's just kind of like being in the right place at the right time. Now, by putting yourself out, you can increase your chances of being in the right place at the right time. But a lot of it is just who you know and being in the right place at the right time. So I'm trying this new thing. Uh, I've heard about this for a long time. For a very long time, people have said when you wake up in the morning, no phone. And I'm like, well, I'm a social media guy, and I have to do some posts in the morning. So the idea of that is, but the excuses. That's excuses. So I thought that this could be beneficial. So I'm trying it out. I the first time I heard it, it was said for like the first hour of your day. And then I've heard it's like arranged. It doesn't matter as long as you put some time in your day. So there's two things with specifically with me being plugged in, internet, phones, devices. I'm trying to not use my phone for social. So if I'm using my alarm clock or something like that, that doesn't count. If I'm reading, that doesn't count. But no social, no searching, no browsing, no internet, no email, no text message, none of that. None of the connecting. I'm not connecting. Even like Googling what's happening is connecting. And I'm not connecting for the first 25 minutes of the day and for the last 25. That's my starting place. The goal is to get to 30 minutes. And then if it feels good, if I see benefits, I'll keep building on that. Pardon me. I don't think I'll go past 45, but I just want to try it. I want to see if there's benefits to it. I want to um I think it's important. So for the first 25 minutes of each day and the last 25 minutes, I'm not going to use any devices for connecting. No voice, no text, no anything. No one's going to have access to me. That's another thing too. No one's going to have access to me in my first 25 minutes of my day. And then the second thing I'm doing is no phone for 1 hour in like the middle of the day. So for me, it'll probably be, I think I'm looking at either the 4 to 5 hour or the 5 to 6 hour. Now, this is a little bit more complicated because those are work hours, so to speak. But I I just want to have a time where there's no phone, or basically, I'll only let my phone be a phone, meaning not even text message. I won't even take text message. If someone calls me, I'll answer the call. Other than that, nothing, nothing. Because I'm not. It's not that I'm not happy with my current state. I just I'm trying to take it to the next level. And I think, it's like you got to tighten it up. You got to tighten things up. It's like when you want to also when you're doing something with spending, you got to go look through your accounts and say, "Oh, I don't really need that. I need, tighten it." So I'm doing some tightening at the beginning of the year. Um Going to my second jujitsu class today. Excited. This finger is completely just I don't even know. It was starting to be this finger, but this finger is also awful. But I'm excited about that. Yeah, I'm just excited. I'm excited for this. I watched the game last night. I don't know if you didn't watch the game. It was a mix. It was a mix of a really really bad game and a really really exciting game. So it was a game of halves. First half was like, why am I watching this? I almost bailed because I thought that's what it was going to be. Actually, I thought so. Okay, spoilers. So if you haven't seen the game, you haven't heard any update, there's going to be spoilers. Georgia won, which so I'm happy for Georgia. Congratulations to Georgia. See, I like games like this where I don't really have a clear team that I want to win. I wanted Alabama to win. I was rooting for Alabama, but I was totally fine with seeing Georgia win because they're deserving. I think they're a good team, and I think Kirby Smart is a good coach who's also a good guy. So we'll talk about a couple things. Firstly, we'll talk about the game itself, and then we'll talk about um, the quarterback getting MVP because I'm not really cool with that. So firstly, the game was boring. First half, um, Alabama lost one of their star receivers, and they lost him on an explosive play. And I just feel like that was a big deal. Apparently, they already were down a phenomenal, an explosive receiver. So now they lose two. It's just kind of like, it's like Tom Brady down with the Bucks. You can't. I felt like that ultimately led to Bryce Young not playing as good as he could because he felt like there was nobody he could defend or depend on. Right? I mean, I don't want to take away from Georgia. Georgia played good, both sides. Defense is amazing. Their defense is amazing. But man, Bama dropped a lot of balls, a lot of good balls. And it's like, that's going to make the quarterback feel like he has to do more than he has to, and he's going to be reaching. He missed the last play of the game or the last play that was an interception that kind of sealed it. He missed it. The guy was open. And the play before that, the guy was open as well. And he missed those throws. But, when you got receivers dropping balls, you're feeling like I got to make a perfect pass. And so I think he shouldn't put his head to hell. He shouldn't hold his head low. I was coming down on him hard, and my dad because he called to see if I saw the game. He was like, "Hey man, it wasn't on him. It wasn't just on him. They dropped a lot of balls. I mean, you just have to note that they dropped a lot of balls. Bama could have won that game. Some would even say Bama should have won that game. They did more than enough to win, except catch the balls, and so that's frustrating. Again, I am totally happy for Georgia to win. No problem with it. I just wish that Bama would have caught those balls. Now, the quarterback getting the MVP. I don't understand how that happens. I mean, I don't get it. I get the story that they want to talk about, him being a walk-on and not really people believing in him and yada yada yada. But he's a manager. You don't give MVPs to managers. You could have picked anyone on that defense to give MVP to. A lot of people on that defense. Um, this quarterback thing, this love for quarterbacks is just kind of like, and I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there. It's a reality. You can't help but notice on that sea of blackness, they find the white position and they give that man the MVP, the guy who fumbled and almost cost them the game. I get it. He made an interception or he made a touchdown the next drive. But that defense, geez, there was no one on the defense that you thought was worthy. Gosh, none of the receivers, none of the running backs. Georgia running backs were running hard. I don't know, man. Maybe it's in my head. It's not in my head. But I thought there was more people they could have given that MVP to. But it just seems to be the quarterback. People are in love with the quarterback. So Georgia lost, or Georgia won, Bama lost. I'm not losing any sleep. What else was in the news? I see that Chicago, they're like actually going back to school. I this is a tough subject for me because I don't have children. So I feel like I should always tread carefully because I think that if I had a child, I would feel differently. Now, so anything I could think right now is just based on um, like theory. I have no kid to feel this strong feelings about. But I understand teachers not wanting to get sick and die. And this is the thing about it. Sure, it's not that likely, especially now with vaccines, them getting better, but it happens. It happens. And you know, you can't just say do your job, right? That was not in the job description. Oh, you might die. I mean, we are completely not even talking about the whole gun situation, right? Now that's become a reality. If you want to be a teacher, you have to take that possibility into account, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But now you're going to add another thing, and it's when it's preventable. Look, and this is why I say it's tough for me, because I definitely believe that there is a downside, negative effects for kids to not be at school, making connections with community, fellowship, learning. But no teacher, in my opinion, should have to be forced with making a living, with the decision of making a living or possibly dying. Teachers have died because of this, and it's preventable. It's There's a cost. That's the thing. There's a cost, and we don't really know the cost of what how it's going to affect children in the future. But we do know that teachers die. So I just think in education, it's not surprising, but in education, there's just such poor problem solving with this. Um, I just feel like if they really just got after it, there's solutions, combinations, hybrids, because everyone doesn't feel the same. Not every teacher is afraid to go back to work. So let's move it around. Let's find a way to service the people, the children that have no access to the internet. Let's find a way to let the ones that don't care about they're not worried about COVID, their families are not worried about COVID, so they in person, because there's definitely teachers, um and maybe we just have more teachers. Maybe we put more money into education. Maybe we have an abundance of teachers. That would be great. Then these kind of situations wouldn't be as troubling because we don't have as many teachers and there's 50 students to a class. I don't know if I ever had 50 students in a class. I definitely think I had 30 or 40 in one class. So as you can imagine, that class was a disaster. It was a disaster. Um, yeah, so they're going back. That's good. I think it's good for I think it's good for students, for children to be in school. I just think that it's not too much to ask to have safety protocols. I know for a fact in Florida, they just let kids go to school even if they're sick with COVID. Just don't say anything. You know what I mean? It's just like, and that's not cool. That like, it, I was following up with the Djokovic thing, and the guy, it's just like everywhere, maskless, and he's tested. He's got COVID too. The getting the COVID thing is not like a scarlet letter, like some people like to say. It's not. You know what I mean? You got sick. That's what it is. The issue is, how are you behaving? Not, and it's not so much on the side of like you contracting it, but it's like, are you not taking it serious and then going around and then ultimately giving it to other people, like Djokovic is doing, like Trump did? That's my issue. I can't speak for everybody. I'm sure there are some people that take offense and they're like, this person is all willy nilly and whatever, and they got it. I'm not that. I'm not that way, especially now with Omicron, because it's like it's just super contagious. It almost doesn't even speak to whether you were taking it seriously or not, because so many people who are taking it serious, we all know they're taking it serious, are getting it. So it can't be an issue. But what is an issue is, what are you doing with it? Are you going around and you're spreading it because you don't really care? Because that's a problem. I have a problem with that. If you're loose and whatever, that's cool. That's fine. That's your life. But if I end up having to deal with this thing because you don't want to do what you're supposed to do, but then it just comes down to this. We have to stop worrying about people's feelings and start doing what's right for us. You know what I mean? Like in my family, for example, uh, over Thanksgiving, they decided to do vaccinated only. And then for Christmas, Christmas Eve, they decided to do a hybrid. They held it outside mostly, and it was just wear your mask if you're inside. Um, and nobody got sick. Thankfully, nobody got sick. Whatever you're comfortable with, it's okay to say that this is what I'm comfortable with. And you don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't owe anybody anything. You have the right to say this is what I want to do with my body and my space. And when people say, "Well, you did this or you did that," that's none of your business. It doesn't matter. If I could choose to go to Coachella if I feel more comfortable at Coachella because maybe it's all vaccinated. I don't have to give you a reason for what I'm going to do with my space. Just like you don't have to give anybody a reason why you do or do not want to get vaccinated. I don't have to give a reason. And so it's okay. Do not feel guilty. Do not feel bad if you say, I don't really want to go do certain things because we know you pretty much know how your family is handling it, how your friends are handling it. And if it's not up to like what you agree with, you should not feel bad. You should, you know what I mean? Feel bad that way. Don't feel bad the other way. People amaze me, because they'll make the same argument for and against themselves. They're like, it's my body. I get to choose. And then they'll be like, but you don't get to choose. I'm like, what? It's my body. Your body, my body. But really it's not my body. It's my body and my body only. But that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother stream. We're not going down that road. I mean, we went down a little bit. We took 2 steps. We're gonna pull it back. Pull it back. Pull it back. Pull it back. Looking forward to this weekend. Gonna do some playoff playoff watching. I don't know if we're gonna do Saturday or Sunday. Getting together with the great and powerful Carlos and Colleen, the power couple. Haven't seen them in a minute. It's good to see them. It's good to have friends. It's good to have good, reliable friends, consistent, but always growing. That's what I like about them. That's what I like about the people in my life that I'm thankful for, which is most of the people in my life. They do things, they try things, you know? It's just I think it's important that in life we try new things. We try to push ourselves. I feel like so many people just survive. And you know what I mean? Like I always say that and I feel bad because it's not easy just to get by. Just being able to have a stable life is not a simple task. It's not like, oh my God, I just woke up and I have a stable life with a family that's provided for and they're healthy and everyone's good. It's like that takes effort. So, you know, I just think that even if all you really want is a stable life, you could aspire to more. And I think that aspiration will give you a better stable life. Those are just my thoughts. An interesting thing that I saw yesterday on Twitter. So apparently they're going to let 800,000 non-citizens vote in New York. I know it's just New York, which I am totally fine with. Now I asked multiple people and I couldn't get a clear definition of what did they mean by like uncitizen or non-citizens, I think was the way they described it. And this is the thing that kind of like these people live in our society, contribute to our society. These men and these women contribute to our society. They pay taxes, they pay rent, um, they buy train cards. You know what I mean? They're the ones that go to your restaurants. They're the ones that work at your restaurants. They work with you. They work all throughout the city, all throughout our country. You could argue that they're the backbone of our country. But when it comes to the thought of them doing anything that has to do with their rights, they don't have rights. I'm gonna so you're comfortable exploiting everything about them, but they can't get rights. They don't have rights because they're not citizens. That doesn't keep you from going to their restaurants. That doesn't keep you from using their services. That doesn't keep us from taking their tax dollars. That doesn't keep us from collecting their rent. That doesn't keep us from doing anything that benefits us. But when they want to vote, when they want to have a say in the game, they're not citizens. I think it's hypocritical at best. These people are part of us, part of our communities. I definitely am here for them voting. You know, I can understand if people take exception to like the federal votes, the national votes, but within our city, within the city of New York, I have no problem with them because they are a fundamental part of our communities. I love that they get health insurance. I love that they don't have to worry, they don't have to fear. I love that. That's how it should be. That's what the United States was supposedly built on, even though we know it wasn't. It's supposed to be the land of the free, not the land of the free for those who did it the right way. It's just so funny. It's just so funny to me. It's literally like you went to someone's house, you went in, you kicked them out of their house, and then you started telling people how they can come to the house. No, you're not allowed in the house. It's like that's not your house. It's America's a funny place. It's the best. I don't want to live anywhere else. Uh I love being an American. I'm proud to be an American. It's just a funny place. But that's life, you know? Even the best family, the best friends, there's just funny things about people. There's funny things about me. I think I'm a solid, decent person, but there's just some weird things about me that I just like, wish I didn't really have that. I don't know if that's serving me. So, it's a funny nation filled with funny people. But we got it. One thing that scares me about America and this recent trend, I was talking to I think Brooke, is that in politics, there's 2 points, and hopefully I can get them both in before the end. The first thing is this idea, this notion, let's stop looking back. Let's forget. And there's a reason why people say remember the Alamo. There's a reason why people say never forget 9/11. There's a reason why people, even in the South, say, remember the Confederacy. And they wave those flags. History matters. So then this one group is very much into remembering history and tradition and all this. But then they want us to forget slavery and Jim Crow and all these things because, well, that's the past. It's like, well, what are you talking about? This You need to remember and study the past so that you can try to avoid it or at least like cut it off. Because if you've studied history and you start to see the same patterns arising, then you can say, oh, we're heading down the wrong path. Let's back up and go back the other way. But that's something that you have to study history. And the other thing is, politics have always swung left to right. You know what I mean? You got Bush, Obama, Clinton, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Bush, Clinton. But it's goes Democrat because it's balanced. But now we seem to switch to. I don't know how we can have an election anymore without people saying that it was stolen. If the Republicans wins this time it's going to be because they changed the laws. If the Democrats win this time, it's because they stole it. So Donald Trump did that. He shifted us from just simply going back and forth with power to now we're looking at everybody, and that scares me. So anyway, this is my stream for today. Thank you for everyone that stopped by. And again, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, please be sure to follow and subscribe. Until tomorrow, have a great day.